Today, we're going to dive into a really ancient teaching that has this incredibly practical way of looking at something we all struggle with, right? Our own imperfections. And what's amazing is that it's a path that doesn't ask you to be perfect to get started, it just asks you to start. I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? That feeling that our bad habits, or maybe our temper, or just our inability to focus, it feels like we're just hitting a wall we can't get over. It's such a human thing to feel, and as we're about to see, it's a struggle that ancient wisdom looked right in the eye. And you might be kind of surprised to hear that these exact struggles, they were tackled head-on in Buddhist teachings. So this isn't about trying to be some perfect saint from day one. No, no. It's about getting real about where we are right now and then finding a path forward from there. What's so fascinating is just how specific the source material is. It actually names these four huge hurdles. Things like a tendency toward what it calls immorality, or tusila, really intense desire, or raga kla, a habit of getting angry, makro, and just having a restless, scattered mind, fungsan. And the key thing here is that the teaching totally gets that these are powerful forces that affect everybody, no matter how good we think we are. Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting and, honestly, incredibly hopeful. The Buddha didn't lay it out like, okay, first you gotta get perfect, then we can talk. Not at all. Instead, the teaching makes this absolutely radical promise. Just take a second and let that one sink in. This is the absolute core of the message. Even if you are right in the middle of wrestling with these very real, very difficult flaws, you can still get on a path of progress. It's the direction you're heading that matters, not where you're standing right now. That is such a powerful idea. So, you might be asking, all right, if I don't need to be perfect, then what do I need? Well, the whole thing hinges on the practice. This promise of progress is completely tied to a specific set of actions that are designed to fundamentally shift your mind and your whole understanding. And the goal of this whole practice is what the Source calls two different forms of liberation, or vimutti. Now, this isn't about escaping the world or anything like that. It's all about freeing yourself from the internal battles that make us suffer. And this just illustrates the strategy perfectly. It's a two-pronged attack, right? On one side, you have Sito Vimutti, which is about liberating your mind from things like greed and anger. You can think of it like cleaning out your inner house. But then, on the other side, you have Panya Vimutti, liberation through wisdom. This is that deep aha moment of insight into how things really work. And you absolutely need both to get to true freedom. So, how do we actually do this? How do we get there? Well, the Buddha laid out a super clear threefold practice. These are the real actionable steps that anyone, and I mean anyone, no matter where you're starting from, can actually take. The path itself builds up in three really clear stages. First, it all starts with Kanfang, which is deep listening, like really taking in the teachings. Then, through that listening, you start to develop Kwampenpu Husut, which means you become learned, you internalize that knowledge. And then finally, you use that understanding to Thang Talat Dui Titi, to penetrate reality with the right view. It's this amazing journey from hearing something to really understanding it to finally, truly seeing it. And all of this leads to what might be the most encouraging part of this entire teaching. This is not a well, maybe it'll work kind of path. The source is totally clear. If you follow these steps, the outcome is basically a sure thing. Now, it's so important to get this. This is not an overnight fix. The source text literally says something like, it will gradually get better on its own. I just love that. It acknowledges that real change takes time. It's a slow, steady process of just getting a little bit better, which makes it all feel so much more achievable, not so overwhelming. And here it is, the ultimate payoff. The Buddha's promise is that if you actually do this threefold practice, if you listen, you learn, and you work on seeing clearly, you will go the way of progress. You will not decline. It's a guaranteed upward trajectory, no matter what flaws you had when you started. And really, that just leaves us with one final thought. This ancient teaching, it isn't just some abstract philosophy. It's a real, practical invitation. It's asking us to look at ourselves honestly, not with judgment, but with a real sense of possibility. So the question isn't, are you good enough to start? The only question is, where are you gonna begin?